Okay, so this is the long-awaited photosynthesis and cell respiration videos. Apologies for the delay on that. So we're going to talk about photosynthesis first, simply because that's what we started with. So a couple of things to be aware of here. So first are the two photosystems, okay? So photosystem 2, photosystem 1. And second thing to be aware of in here is the electron transport chain here. And then finally, down here, ATP synthase, okay? So you'll notice that we're on a membrane here, right? You can see these, this here lipid bilayer. So all these are peripheral and integral proteins depending on their type. So where we're at, if you look on the chloroplast, is we are, the area outside here is the stroma, right? So that's all this gray area in here, okay? Now, we are on the thylakoid membranes here. We're on these little stacks. So we're looking at on the walls of these right here, okay? The membranes here. And notice there's a lot of those membranes. That's simply because there's a lot of these photosystems on there, okay? And then the inner thylakoid membranes are these spaces in here. Oops, sorry, that's getting that really big. These spaces, the dark green spaces in here. Okay, you can see me coloring in those. So notice that they're very small too, and that's important. So basically what happens here is light energy hits photosystem 2, and more specifically, it hits the chlorophyll embedded in photosystem 1, okay? And that excites an electron, which are these little dots right here, okay? So these are electrons. And that excited electron basically gains energy, and it moves out of that photosystem down the electron transport chain to photosystem 2, okay? And then at photosystem 2, again, there's chlorophyll. Here it's marked. That's the chlorophyll also right there. And that electron embeds in here. And then light hits it, it gets excited. Now, in non-cyclic phosphorylation, that excited electron basically joins with NADP+ and some hydrogen ions, plus that electron to form NADPH, okay? So this is a reduction reaction, okay? So this is reduced, photosystem 1 is oxidized, and basically NADPH is going to head off to the Calvin cycle. Oops, going to head off to the Calvin. Is going to head off to the Calvin cycle here, okay? And basically, what this NADPH is carrying is that high energy, they've excited electron, okay? Now, while that happened, something else was happening here with these hydrogen ions, okay? They were being moved from here, so basically from the stroma into the inner thylakoid space, okay? So what you end up with is inside here a high H+ concentration. And out here, I'm going to write it down here, you get a low H+ concentration. Okay? So this process here, this movement here, is a form of active transport. Okay? Now, that requires energy. That energy came from this electron. Okay? So what's happening then on the inside is we are getting lots of electrons. We're getting a high concentration here. A high gradient is being formed. Okay? Now, also with that is these excited electrons. Sorry, that electron that went to NADPH, right? That's called non-cyclic phosphorylation. Cyclic would just go back to photosystem 2 and go through again. So that would just generate energy, while this is creating NADPH. Now, this excited electron from photosystem 2 has gone, right? It's gone off to NADPH. So that needs to be replaced with an electron. So that comes from H2O. Okay, so this idea is called photolysis. So that's split and it produces oxygen. So that's where the oxygen comes from cell respiration, or sorry, from photosynthesis. And it creates some hydrogen ions too, which increase the gradient here. And the electrons from this, they go and replace the electrons lost here. Okay, so that's why we need water in that reaction. Now, all we've created here is NADPH. So all these high energy, all these hydrogen ions then are going to move through this enzyme called ATP synthase. Okay, and as they move through, that energy, that high concentration gradient, that low concentration gradient, is going to help convert NADPH and 3 inorganic phosphate into 3 ATP molecules, okay? So we're making ATP here, we're making energy, okay? And that process then, that ATP and that NADPH, those are all going to go off to the Calvin cycle. And in the Calvin cycle, the Calvin cycle is going to make glucose. Okay, and that'll be the next video here. All right, so thank you for that.